Hello, this is Jim Szymanski, Communications Director for the Washington Retail Association, and my guest today is Representative John Koster, Republican from Arlington. He represents the 39th District, including King, Skagit, and Snohomish counties, a bit north of Seattle. Representative, thanks for being here today. We appreciate it very much.
Appreciate the opportunity.
One thing is, we want to start with you returning to the legislature after 15 years. You've taken a hiatus, so to speak. And I'm curious as to how things have changed since you've been gone.
Well, last time I was here was the last time we were in the majority, and it's very different being in the majority than the minority. Many of the same issues, technology's changed, but this job is about building relationships, and there's so many new faces down here. There's few of us around here that were here in the mid-90s, but it's a lot of the same issues, where I'm concerned about the growth of government and the rulemaking and frankly, the size of government. I believe the last budget that I voted on when I left was about $20 billion, and I think that's probably just nearly doubled since I left. So, and population has only grown about 18%. So, government grows, and when government grows, people's freedoms diminish.
Now, your party colleagues are intent on reining in what you're talking about, this trend of increasing spending beyond the ratio of population. How can the Republicans and those who agree with you on the other side of the aisle hope to rein in that kind of trend?
Well, part of it is a growth of agencies, but you have to prioritize what you spend money on. There's only a limited amount of resources. Of course, some think they can go back to the taxpayers and continue to go get it, but there's limited resources, so you need to prioritize. And I think that demands a different way to do budgets. Instead of saying this is the baseline, we're going to add caseload and then we're going to add inflation, we need to go back to thinking seriously about the things that government really should do and prioritize those first, like funding education.
Now, fully funding state schools is the main issue overriding, no question, about this session.
That's true.
Here in 2017. And your colleagues, again, and I presume yourself as well, hope to do that without raising taxes. How can that be done? That's a question that a lot of voters have in their mind.
Well, that again goes back to prioritization. I think people have to understand we have somewhere nearly $3 billion of more revenue than was forecast. With the economy beginning to click up a little bit, we're seeing more revenue come in. So utilizing that and prioritizing actual funding of education first is what we have to do. Actually, we had a rule early on that we attempted to pass on the floor that would have said we will fund education first, and the other side of the aisle voted that down. But it is a matter of prioritization. We have a plan. The House Republicans have a plan which we'll release soon. We're waiting for the Senates to come over and the other side to send theirs out, and then the negotiations will begin. But we must fund those things first.
Now, our members, and WRA in particular, the Retail Association, are watching the progress of House Bill 1352, otherwise known as the Small Business Bill of Rights, that the House approved, and I wanted to get an update as to where that sits this session, and tell us a little bit about how that would work.
Well, 1352 went out of the House. I think it was a unanimous vote, actually, and now it will go to the Senate, have a hearing over there, and they'll vote on it, and hopefully it'll go to the governor's desk. It's a great bill. It's kind of the Small Business Bill of Rights. It's going to require the state agencies to go through all their policies, all their rules, and report to the Attorney General, identify what they are and the rights that businesses actually have. And then the AG will compile that and will actually establish a Bill of Rights for small businesses. So when an agency comes in to inspect or enforce or whatever case, they'll be able to inform that business of their actual rights, which is, I think that's a great bill.
You've also introduced bills to suspend rulemaking until the summer of 2018 and provide more oversight of that whole process. What's the issue that you're trying to address with these bills, and perhaps give us a bit of insight as to what the outcome of that effort might be?
Well, I actually had two bills. One was to eliminate the general rulemaking authority of agencies and require them to make rules only on specific legislative authority. It is high time that the legislature takes back their rulemaking authority and their oversight over these agencies. The other bill I had, and that bill didn't even get a hearing in committee, unfortunately. The other bill I had was a bill to, we have what we call the Joint Administrative Rules Review Committee. It's made up of 8 legislators, and if there's a rule that comes in that's onerous or somebody thinks is beyond the scope of legislative authority, they can appeal to JARC to take a look at that rule. And right now it's 4 Republicans, 4 Democrats, and the most, if they can get 5 votes to say they're out of line with the rule, the worst thing they can do is write a letter. That's all they can do. So there's a little bit of frustrating. It has no teeth. My bill would have said it takes 5 votes to approve a rule, and if they didn't get 5 affirmative votes, the rule would be immediately suspended until such time as that agency appeared before the appropriate legislative committee and could justify the actual legislative authority they had for that rule. And of course, if they didn't have it, then they'd have to go get a bill passed to actually justify that or withdraw the rule.
Now, I think to wrap up here, we should make this clear to the viewer. When something like that happens, you have a bill, it doesn't get through, it's typical. My observation has been that it comes back again next year, and I presume that would be your hope, is to keep it alive by reintroducing.
I will not give up getting our arms around the rulemaking authority of these agencies. It's one of the things that's driving the cost, and frankly, it's very onerous to small business.
Well, thank you very much, Representative, for being with us today. I appreciate that very much.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.